Everybody, I'm here with Juan at Bear Robotics at the NRA show 2024. And wow, what a show it is. Juan, how are you?
I'm doing well. It's great to have you here once again. We're very excited to showcase to you all the new things that we've been working on and really hopefully give you an idea of all what's to come with Bear Robotics.
Excellent. Yeah, we love what you do here. It's so interesting to always come to your booth and see these robots running around and everything.
Good.
It's really, the future is here today. And we know that in Asia, this has been around for a while, right? And it's pretty much
That's correct.
in use there?
Our primary market when we first started this company 7 years ago was in Japan. And we also have a pretty good presence also in Korea. And over the last 3 years, we really tried to develop the market here in the United States. We can proudly say that we are in officially about 45 to 46 states in the United States. We're missing just a few, and I hope that we'll be able to plant the flag and be able to say that we're officially in all 50 very soon. But the growth of the acceptance and adoption of self-driving robots in restaurants has certainly continued to increase each and every year, and we're very much looking forward to the growth to come in the future as well.
Okay. So for our restaurant owners and chefs that are watching this now, what would you say to them is a key benefit of having a robotic system come into their traditional establishment? What would be the number one, the number two or three thing?
I think it's interesting because as an operator owner, you kind of take a look at all the things that your staff have to do. Sometimes they're basically stuck with doing 5, 6, or 7 things at a time. The great thing about having self-driving robots that are doing basically either food running, busing, soup running, it could be drink running, is that the folks that we work with quite a bit tend to say that there's a definite ROI when it comes to not only dollars saved, but also there's a benefit in terms of the time that we save for folks. An additional 1 minute to 90 seconds of additional time giving your servers that kind of additional time to provide that service and hospitality to their customers usually generates a win-win for all parties. Usually there's, in our case, we used to own our own restaurant, which is how this whole concept got generated. One of our other co-founders actually had his own restaurant in Milpitas, California, which is where we built our first prototype. So over a period of about 12 to 18 months, we noticed that the tip income for our own staff was actually going up significantly, enough that it actually made a mark and an impact. We noticed that our staff was actually getting tip incomes of 28% greater than what they had before the robot.
Tip income.
That's correct. So what we're trying to really do with the technology is essentially establish the future of work for the folks that work in this industry, but we really want to make sure that it benefits owners and it also benefits staff and provides a better customer experience for the folks that are coming back to you. Because if you're able to provide that service and hospitality piece back to what we're actually originally with when it comes to restaurants, so people come back.
We're not really talking about replacing existing staff. We're talking about giving them tools as an assistant here with robotics, so that they have more free time to be more productive, to increase the diner experience, to increase their revenue through tips, et cetera, et cetera. So it helps the busboys because they don't have to do this heavy lifting of platters and this sort of thing. Safety is an issue there. It alleviates that, and it helps the waiters by bringing food to and fro.
One of the things that we really tried to focus on over the course of the last year has been to provide that mechanism back to the operators. We're able to essentially show what we're doing on behalf of the staff. We're able to show how much weight we're carrying each month on behalf of the staff, how many miles we're actually traveling on behalf of staff. In a sense, going back to my story about our own restaurant, I mean, we had our servers actually walking less. It was a better culture, a better environment for them, and I actually provided them with that additional time, and the tip income that they generated was about 28% over what they had before a robot was installed in their own place. So from that, we really were able to see that these robots can really provide a kind of the future of work for hospitality workers in terms of the feedback that we got that this is an issue that actually is happening in locations throughout the world. And so essentially, by taking a couple of tasks off of the server to do other things, it actually provides a benefit to operators and also to the service and to the customer experience overall. That's the trifecta that we're really trying to really help with putting these tools and these solutions in a restaurant.
So a restaurant owner is going to say, this is all good. My servers are going to have an increase of 25%. possibly, in tips. How is it going to benefit the restaurant directly in terms of of profits? There's going to be an ROI on these machines.
Right.
The ROI to the business itself comes through increased productivity and table turnover.
Yeah, there's from an ROI perspective, I look at it from two different ways. I mean, the robots themselves are very inexpensive on an hourly basis. They're only maybe between $20 to $30 a day. So you'll make the money back quite quickly. There's a
That's
positive ROI.
inexpensive. That's good.
There's a positive ROI immediately from an hourly wage perspective, but I also look at it from the perspective of the time that we save for folks in general. I mean, whether it's serving staff or others. I mean, when you're able to take that additional time and do other things that are value added or more creative, that's the move that we're trying to basically provide with these solutions. It's really kind of think of it as a reallocation of a task in terms of how folks in this service industry should work day to day moving forward. Because these are mundane tasks. Having to carry dirty dishes. Now we have one thing that we introduced.
Dirty dishes right
There
here.
you go. I mean, one of the interesting things that we actually will be introducing fairly soon is the ability for these robots essentially to follow you. So as a server that's going to clear a table, it will follow you. You will actually load the dirty dishes onto it, and then thereafter it'll head right back to the dishwashing station on its own. Mm-hmm. That server can then take that time, which is what we talked about earlier, and really go meet with perhaps the next family to be seated. Take that additional, let's say, 30 seconds, a minute and a half to do those things that are a lot more customer service oriented. So it's go back to your question. I mean, really, that's the expediency of making things a lot more effective and more efficient.
It is the expediency. You're just creating. It seems to me. I mean, with all things automation, throughout the industrial revolution, we've increased one thing: efficiency, and efficiency lowers cost. Period. So this is what we're doing with the restaurant here.
That's right.
And at $30 a day, it seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, you and I think, live in California part-time, so I think it's a very easy, and as you know, there's probably a good host of states where the minimum wages are certainly going up in a fairly big way. So you do have to consider, as an owner, you do have to kind of consider how you're going to essentially flex your staffing model, and I think by having kind of both kind of play together, I think you can kind of see where there's potential more efficiencies, more savings, and kind of making the overall environment of your operation a lot more effective and efficient.
Yeah, I agree. And so from a diner perspective, having just returned from Tokyo, I really do appreciate the efficiency of the automation there. I have to say, first it wasn't taken aback a little bit. You walk into a place and the first thing you encounter is a screen instead of a good evening, welcome to blah blah, No, you see a screen to which you input information, you're given a tag and you go to your table. I was okay with that. A server did come up to me at one point and took a drink order and left. And the rest of it was done on a tablet with things delivered, in this case through a belt system, but it would easily have been done with a robot.
Yeah.
I do appreciate it. I am a fan of robotics. I think that it's the future.
Thank you.
And I do believe that.
We our first entry point into Japan, we have basically been visiting Japan, and our first large-scale deployments where we deployed several thousands of robots was actually in Tokyo. And a big part of the reason why you'll see adoption in Asia for new technologies faster is because it's very commonplace there. And actually, we notice it with our Japanese customers, our Korean customers, our Vietnamese customers. Here in the U.S., it's a very, very easy thing because they've seen it, and they've seen it not only from when they go back home or perhaps when they visit their families. It's a very, very easy thing. So now I think, as you know, a lot of the adoption of early technology tends to happen even faster in Asia, and then it comes over to the West. Fortunately now, over the last several years, it's actually not going to become an uncommon thing because we have our robots situated in many hotels. We have them even in airports now, in airport lounges. We have them even in corporate campuses. And so obviously restaurants for us is where we started, and that's our bread and butter. And I think you'll see them in many, many different venues, even in your living communities. So anywhere people eat, you're probably going to hopefully find robots from Bear Robotics.
Juan, sounds good. I'm on board, so.
I appreciate it. Thank you for coming by. We're just obviously appreciative of you coming by, and hopefully enlightening the new technology that's going to hopefully shift the way that people work in this industry.
No, it's our pleasure to be here today, and thank you so much for being on our video.
I appreciate you having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.